What the Phoenix Suns are doing so far this season is flying completely under the radar. They're sixth in the Western Conference right now. If you would have told me that in the beginning of the season, I would have called you crazy. I looked at this team as a rebuilding, Pelicans level team, Kings level team, Jazz level team, kind of bottom of the West. And so far this season, they look the complete opposite of that. This is a super defensive-oriented 3-and-D team, and they're showing that on a night-in, night-out basis. They just had a really tough game against the Thunder last night. Paper shouldn't have been in that game at all. However, gritty team. They're in every single game, at least a little bit. So some stats to back up this team defensively. They're first in the NBA in steals right now at 10.6. And all credit goes to even guys like Devin Booker, but mostly Dillon Brooks, Colin Gillespie, Ryan Dunn, Royce O'Neal as well. Just always been really good defensive-oriented guys. And they're also holding their opponents to 34% from three, which is sixth in the NBA right now. So a lot of credit to their zone that they run. They love to mix it up with that 2-3, 3-2 zone. And it really kind of forces people to take bad shots. And then they're seventh in opponent points per game at 113. So the stereotypical 3-and-D team. And I find that just so funny because this whole team is just a bunch of 3-and-D guys mashed together. Like a Dillon Brooks, like Royce O'Neal, like Ryan Dunn, all the guys I'm going to mention and talk a little bit more in depth about. It's all coming together for them right now, and they're winning by committee. It is a really fun team to watch, and if you haven't already, I suggest you tune in. So there's really two guys that I have been absolutely enamored by on this team so far, and it's Dillon Brooks and Colin Gillespie. I'm going to start off with Dillon Brooks because, quite honestly, I talked about it a little bit in my Pistons video with Jalen Duren, and I think he has a strong case to be most improved player besides Denny. He's in the conversation. But Dillon Brooks, man, I think he deserves to be just as much in that conversation. He's averaging 21 points this season so far. And for a guy like that where you know what you're going to get defensively, you know the impact that he's going to make on your team energy-wise, mentally, on the court, and to get a productive 21 points per game. Now, he is shooting 32% from three, but so is Devin Booker. It's like their offense is pretty ugly, and that's how this season's just kind of be for them. They don't have those, offensive-oriented guys besides Devin Booker, really. So it's ugly on the offensive end. It's a lot of half-court situations, but if they do get out in transition, they really do need to take advantage of it, which I think they have done a pretty good job of. But yeah, a guy like Dillon Brooks giving you 21 points per game is unheard of, honestly, for a defensive-oriented guy. I think he's had a huge step and really blossomed into that second role scoring-wise with Jalen Green being out for this team. So I think he deserves all the credit to kind of the engine of this team, the identity of this team, and they're really just grasping onto that, which is phenomenal. And then the second guy, man, one of my favorite role guys in the entire league right now is Colin Gillespie. He, again, another most improved player candidate, which he's not going to win because the award isn't what it used to be, but a guy who has just continued to improve dramatically every year. When he gets his playing time, it's like he knows it could be his last. So he just keeps playing with that same motor night in and night out, and I just love to see that out of a young guy like Colin Gillespie, who quite honestly is just a small, undersized, underweight white guard in the NBA, which you don't see a lot of those guys thrive. And he's just been phenomenal, man. He's so clutch. He hits big time shots. He is confident. He makes their extra pass. He sets up their offense in the half court. And having a guy like that for this team has been huge because it kind of relieves a little bit of the Devin Booker point guard role, facilitating role, where he can kind of get into his bag a little bit more and allow this team to at least score a little bit, because he really is that main focal point on the offensive end. And it's hard for him. He is averaging 7 assists so far on the year and 26 points. So obviously numbers wise, he's getting it done. But Colin Gillespie with 5, to relieve a little bit of the facilitating role. Even Grayson Allen with 4 this year so far. Grayson Allen is another guy who offensively has looked phenomenal and has helped this team with some 3-point shooting as well, shooting 44% on the season so far in 13 games. He's been phenomenal, averaging 18 points. Again, committee, which I love teams like this. It feels like a college team. You don't get too many of these in the NBA. The Heat are another one, and I always gravitate towards those teams because it's fun, it's new. I love just the energy and the hustle, and they care night in and night out because that's what they have to do in order to win a game. Another guy I've been pretty impressed with is Mark Williams. Not the greatest rebounder, which I think this team is lacking right now. I believe they're one of the dead last teams in rebounding, if I'm not mistaken. They're 19th, which is pretty middle of the pack, which is fine. Again, a committee rebounding team, but they don't really have that lead rebounder. I think Royce O'Neal's been pretty good for them too. He's a funny player, man. He can turn it on. He has some nights where he just can't miss, right? Last night against the Thunder, he had some really big time shots late in that game, and that's kind of the name of his game too. Just weird player. Again, he can kind of take you off the dribble a little bit too. He kind of reminds me of a Najee Marshall a little bit, like a sneaky good offensive player off the dribble, can kind of get to his spots sometimes, but just lacks that consistency and green light. So I always enjoy watching him play. I've loved him for his entire career, but I am very shocked with this team so far. I did not expect it to go this well so far in the season. Thought that Devin Booker might ride off to the sunset somewhere else, request a trade, and they would just completely buy into the picks. Maybe see what you got in Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, maybe ship him off to a contender. But as of right now, this is a team that I do not want to play in the playoffs, right? I think this is a classic scenario of a team who, if they end up sneaking their way into the playoffs, they'll probably win a game, maybe get swept, but every single game is going to be that 5-point margin or closer, and it's going to be a really tough, gritty game. I think they've just adjusted to certain guys in the league, everybody struggles with, Jokic. They play Jokic so well for some reason, and they are usually in a zone because they don't have a single guy. I mean, nobody does, but they don't even come close to it having a single guy that can even, give Jokic a tough matchup, right? Mark Williams is their center right now. Nick Richards is their center. Those are two guys who aren't going to give Jokic a ton of problems. Dylan Brooks is too small for him. He might play him tough, but it's not the same height-wise and whatnot. They've given Wemby a tough matchup. At the beginning of the season, the Spurs were, one of the top teams in the league, and they end up losing to the Suns, I think, twice. Again, they play guys, they play up to their competition, they play tough, and they really get after it, man. It's super fun watch. So shout out to the Suns. We'll see what ends up happening for the rest of the season, but as of right now, I'm really enjoying this team.